Hey there! So today we have another review. This is a beer courtesy Firestone Walker, part of the Brewmasters Collective series. So this was part of this beer specifically is a collective choice. It's actually not in this book. I was like, every quarter they send you some beers, and this wasn't in there. I was like, for understanding, like this is part of the opening package because this beer specifically uses ingredients that the collective member group wanted in a beer, and then Firestone Walker figured it out. So they barrel aged out with pecan, sea salt, and natural maple flavoring, 11.8. And then they offer you this beautiful kind of like it's like embossed, so you can't really see it with the light, but it says Firestone Walker Brewmasters Collective on a black card. And then using this, you get 15% off at all their tap rooms, including food and drink, right? Anyway, I also have some insane news from Firestone Walker coming soon, but not sharing that yet. But I thought I'd try this to use this guy. That is so cool. I'm used to having a keychain, but if I just had this in my wallet, I just like have a bottle opener all the time, and it'd be like a thick metal like black card that black cards are pretty cool. Hip hop, blah. Interesting. Beer is not pitch black out of the bottle, but it's very dark brown. That is definitely dark beer. But yeah. In the glass, that is pretty dark. That's pretty much deep brown to black color. Wonderful kind of deep brown tan head on that. Yeah, looks pretty good. Wonderful carb on that. Oh yeah. A lot of nutty pecan character. Some booze, bourbon. It's like really delicious, kind of like familiar. I always again like it's hard to talk about. What's a good analogy? Like again, it's hard to talk about Guinness or Irish Stout without mentioning the word Guinness. Is Bourbon County literally that intense in how it's pervasive to that style? No, but for the vernacular for you guys, I think it's some conversation that we can have. It smells like Bourbon County. It's bourbon, rich chocolate character. The bourbon character like comes in as well. Charred oak, a little bit of that kind of caramelly sweetness. But there's a nutty weirdness to it too that is like definitely there. I don't think you can smell salt, but the maple. I don't necessarily smell maple because like that's a pretty distinct aroma, but maybe a little bit of that kind of caramelly sweetness is like, and the charred oak character sort of like melds into that. So, and I also have a little bit too cold, but cheers. So it's definitely on the palate. And the crazy thing is like it doesn't really taste like Bourbon County at all. All right, so even though it smells like really tight, and again, like a well-constructed barrel aged stout should sort of have a specific aromatic and sort of associated with Bourbon County. On the palate, it's a very different beer. So, how's it so different? First thing you notice is char. There's the base beer for here had either a lower finishing gravity, possibly, and then just a little less sweetness, and then just a higher char element to it. The beer has a roasty, almost like not quite smoky, but it is burnt. Yeah, it's not quite smoky, but it's burnt. There's a definite note of like burnt character, which can be fun, right? Like it sort of reminds you, like like sometimes you overcook something a little bit intense on the char, and that plays well, honestly, with this kind of like maple sweetness that comes in. Nuttiness, this oily, nutty, toasted pecan thing plays well with that. So the nuttiness is offering a really nice kind of like toasty element, which complements the char element, and then the maple sweetness helps balance that a little bit out. And then I don't know if it's a maple or something, but like maple for me, I think one of the comparative tasting is like fenugreek, which is an Indian spice. There's a little bit of like herbal spiciness that hits on the back end, but that could be the maple playing with the char, playing with the wood, playing with the nutty pecan note, and then the sea salt in here. Interesting. Which honestly probably helps like balance out the beer and helps make it a little bit more balanced, savory, blah blah. Like, you know, ideally, like you should never taste salt in any of this, right? Like it's that kind of balancing element that you can like throw into a little bit of like, you know, a little bit of sprinkling of sea salt onto your like dark chocolate ice cream or your chocolate candy bar, stuff like that. That kind of like balancing element that like cocktails use it too, right? Just a little bit balancing salinity to play well with the flavors that you're using, right? Especially sweetness, just a little bit of balance of salinity is very useful. Oh, it's good beer. It honestly tastes like as I'm like slowly trying to like slow down on dissecting the flavors, it tastes like a really good dessert. The dessert that sort of tastes like here is like a little bit of fudge bar, because like the bourbon character like really helps amplify those vanilla notes. So some chocolate fudgy bar thing with chunky, salty pecans, maybe a little bit of light drizzle of like maple syrup on there. And as you drink it more, the balancing sort of like plays around, where the sweetness of the base beer and the barrel character sort of shows up, and the maple sort of shows up, and then you get the char. And now this beer, with salinity, is like a little bit dry and offering a little bit more sweetness, whereas up front I was getting the char. So again, this is the fun thing about adjuncted, well-constructed barrel-aged stouts. You're just like, your brain's always like, wait. It was salty at first. Oh, wait. It was charry at first. Oh, wait. It was really desserty at some point. Oh, wait. You know, like that's the fun thing about these beers. Like, yeah, that's just fantastic. Wonderful complexity. Oh, that's the other thing. It has a really intense kind of like, and I get it from Firestone Walker. I don't know what specifically it is they do, but there's a really nice kind of like vanilla coconutty mid palate. It's very distinctive that I get, and it also cuts a little bit shorter, or sorry, noticeably shorter and drier than a Bourbon County would. 11.8 beer, Bourbon County is like 13-ish, 14-ish sometimes, almost 15. So I'm playing around in that game, but. And you can see it's not like completely opaquely dark. It's a lighter-ish. Well, it's still obviously stout, but yeah, fantastic. Plays a little bit of bounce of on a beer that's like 12%, and with adjuncts and with maple, blah 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 blah. So it is basically a pastry barrel-aged stout, but it's really beautifully nuanced. And a little bit of balance to this guy, right? It doesn't really have a chunky, chewy to do. The flavors of nuts and maple are echoing on my palate, but the beer is actually dried out on the palate now, right? That's real good. So for me, I definitely prefer something a little bit more decadent, a little bit more punchy, a little bit sweeter. Like, if you're going to go here, let's go all the way. But I also do enjoy the fact that this beer has a really nice kind of tight balance to it, really well constructed. You can sort of taste a lot of nuance in this beer, and the ingredients are really well constructed. And yeah, it's just, not everything has to be exactly, you know, the most decadent, blah, 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 right? So, balances here is really fantastic. Let's go with a 97 minus. 97 minus. Check out Firestone Walker. Brewmasters Collective. Thank you so much. This is a really nice take on what the, I guess, the Brewmasters Collective buyers or members were really interested in, and this turned out great. Cheers later.